The San Jose Sharks make some massive additions during the first day of free agency.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at The Reef, also the co-host of Western Conference Tuesdays on the Locked On NHL channel. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, probably part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. If you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch this on YouTube as well. And the Sharks, they open up the checkbook here, and they make two big signings in free agency to add to the forwards, one in Tyler Toffoli and then Alex Wennberg. So we're going to break down where these guys kind of fit in, why Toffoli is the perfect addition, why Wennberg is Logan Couture insurance, and then look at some of the additions to the Barracuda and some more work that Mike Grier needs to get done here. So before we do all that, do want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more as the playoffs are now done. Sports stop sporting like we want them to, but this summer FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Let's start with Tyler Toffoli, as he gets a 4-year deal at $6 million AAV, and it's also sounding like it's a full no move clause with that as well. I love this signing. I know maybe the fourth year little, but Mike Grier said we're sticking to 1 to 4 years types of deals for players. And Toffoli fits exactly what the Sharks are looking for. And that is good players to fit around Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith. And Tyler Toffoli is that. He's a good NHL player. He's a top 6 NHL player on basically any team in the league. The man's a walking 20 to 30 goal machine every season. And he is just going to be like he's going to come to the Bay and just kind of be a professional and help Celebrini and Smith be able to just count on you and utilize their line mates, right? We don't want another kind of Eklund being paired with Luke Cunnin type of deal where we're just you're wanting these guys to kind of do what they can, and then they do great stuff, and then just not having the caliber teammates around them or line mates around them. And I think Tyler Toffoli is a perfect addition for the Sharks. So let's get to know Toffoli a little bit better here. So Tyler Toffoli, 6 foot, 203 pounds, again signed a 4-year deal at $6 million with a full no trade clause or no movement clause. 79 games last year, 33 goals. This was split between the Jets and the Devils. 22 assists, 229 shots on goal. Played a hair under 17 minutes a night. Corsi for when he was on the ice, 55.67. So they were dominating the shot attempts when he was on the ice. That's between two different teams. Goals for 51.4%. Again, between two teams. Looking at his evolving hockey card, played just a hair under first line minutes last season with an 83 percentile player, 91st percentile offensively, 15th percentile defensively, a ton of power play minutes, not going to play shorthanded or on the penalty kill, which is perfectly fine. You have 1,000 bottom 6 forwards to do that. Tyler Toffoli, he shoots a lot. And he is really good at putting the puck in the back of the net. So looking at his JFresh card, 91st percentile WAR, so it's wins above replacement over the past 3 seasons. And I know he's a little bit older here. He's 32 by the time this deal is done. He'll be 36. But 88th percentile offensively, 82 percentile defensively, 84th percentile finishing, 85. Like, this guy scores, and he's he's exactly what the Sharks need, right? Mike Grier went out and said we need to add more scoring. Tyler Toffoli scores a ton of goals. Looking at what his transition data from all three zones, Matt, like shots per 60 when he's on the ice, like he creates offense. Shots per 60, chances per 60, like literally off the charts for here. Rushed offense, especially with the way the Sharks are kind of building this. And Celebrini, who in college is a transition wizard. Will Smith, we know, can create as well on the transition. Tyler Toffoli is going to be the perfect addition for these guys because of what he does on the ice. Not much of a passer, which is fine because you need him to be a finisher. And I think with Celebrini and Smith, whoever he plays with, he is going to be a massive addition for those guys and exactly what their skill set is, which is we know Celebrini can create whatever he need. You can do whatever you need him to be, but we've seen Will Smith in his beautiful passing in college. Both these guys are excellent passers, and Toffoli is going to just be able to just crush on some great setups. So, and then Evolving Hockey also had his contract projection. They projected 3 years at 6.1. He got 4 years at 6.1, which is right as well, kind of in the range of what to expect for him. So I think this is a ridiculously good contract. I know the no trade clause is, as I can already hear Sharks fans complaining about a potential no trade clause. And I get it from his perspective, right? And for the Sharks' perspective, you have basically the next 3 years where you're going to have Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini on entry-level contracts. They're going to be basically paid $1 million a season for the next 3 seasons. Having a guy like Toffoli who has bounced around a lot the last couple seasons, between the Devils, the Jets, Calgary, like there's been he's played on a ton of different teams over the past couple seasons. I think for Toffoli, it gives him a little bit of peace of mind of I'm not going anywhere unless I want to go somewhere, which guys can waive their no trade clause. And then if you get to that 4th year and the Sharks aren't competitive yet, which is very much in their kind of range, he can always waive his no trade clause to go somewhere else. Like, I wouldn't worry about it. I think for this might be one of those kind of costs of doing business things for Toffoli is give him some peace of mind. And his wife is also from the Bay. Like, she's from Monterey. Like, I think he genuinely wanted to be here, and for his wife to be home gives them, again, some peace of mind. They're not going to have to go anywhere. They're not going to pack things up. And I think, again, his skill set fits amazingly with Will Smith, Macklin Celebrini, William Eklund, Mikael Granlund. Like, however you shuffle the lines, Eklund being a great passer and Toffoli just being there in the right place at the right time and been able to kind of crush it. Like, yeah, Toffoli is going to just kind of help raise the bar. And if you guys want to talk about leadership, all this stuff, he's been part of a cup team. He even said he wanted to come here and help the young guys because of his journey with the LA Kings, right? He joined a basically a kind of a team that was in their prime. He won a cup with the Kings in the 2014, and I think he's in that kind of I want to pay it back kind of mindset. So I absolutely love this signing for the Sharks. And even if the last year's not so great, the cap will keep going up. And if he's playing like third line minutes for you, Tyler Toffoli on your third line, and you have guys like Quentin Musty, Kasper Holttunen, whoever else, like 3-4 years from now, making their kind of debuts and impacts, like even those guys are going to be on their ELCs. You're not like, this is a perfect contract for what the Sharks are looking for to build. And Tyler Toffoli is going to make Celebrini and Will Smith's life so much easier over the next couple of seasons because of the style he plays fits perfectly with the style that they play. So A+ from Mike Grier on this one, trying to fit a need with what you're looking for and kind of staying to your budget here. So we'll continue to look at some of these Sharks' newest additions, including Alex Wennberg, who we talked about on this show as Couture Insurance. And Mike Grier went out and got some Logan Couture insurance. So we'll talk about that here in just 1 minute. Sports, I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But with the playoffs now done, we get fewer games and the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep on the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right. Let's get Alex Wennberg, a little bit of an overpay. 2 years, $5 million AAV. I think he has the contract details are starting to come up. I think he has a no trade clause the first year, but then there's some trade protections the first year, but I think they lighten up the second year. Wennberg, who split his time last year between the Kraken and the Rangers. I know some people are a little about Wennberg and kind of what this means for Couture and stuff, but this is Logan Couture Insurance. So if Couture is not able to come back, welcome to your new 3C in Alex Wennberg. And I think he's really good at playing defense. I think he's really good passer. Maybe not, you're not going to see the goal production out of him, but I think that's kind of where he slots in. If Couture comes back, Wennberg can slide to the wing, or if you want to put Couture on the wing to maybe lighten his load, gives you a little bit of flexibility there. And I think that's what the Sharks were looking for, is somebody who can play both center and wing, and Wennberg can 1000% do that. And with Logan Couture, right, there's so much we don't know with him, especially because he played 6 games last year. Having a guy like Wennberg who can kind of play those hard, dirty minutes, he's good defensively, I think is a smart bet. And it's a 2-year deal. So if this year works out and then next year you can be potential trade piece at the trade deadline with Wennberg, who teams love to add these type of players. I mean, the Rangers added him this year. This is another short term. Again, you overpaid a little bit with the dollars, but that's okay, especially when you're the Sharks and you have a bajillion dollars in cap space. I'm totally fine with kind of overpaying for a guy right now, at least dollar-wise, to just help raise the bar of the talent on this team, and Wennberg does that. So let's get to look at kind of what Alex Wennberg brings to the Sharks here. So Wennberg, 6'2", 180 pounds, 2-year deal at $5 million AAV. 79 games between the Rangers and the Kraken last year, had 10 goals and 20 assists with 90 shots on goal. Again, doesn't shoot a bunch. So average time on ice, just a hair under 18 minutes. Corsi for 48.96. So he was getting outshot by a smidge. Goals for 52.94 for Toffoli. So I think the potential addition, or the getting out shots, a little bit worrisome, but the Kraken were kind of also a bad team all season, and he was, that's fine. So, but the goals they're kind of holding kind of the dam back there in that type of scenario. So, look, guys, evolving hockey, playing first line minutes, 63 percentile player, 65 percentile offense, 21st percentile defense. These shorthanded defense, he played a ton of shorthanded defense and wasn't that great last year, but if you look at some of his previous seasons, it's a much better. So maybe things just kind of fell off a little bit here this year. Also played a bunch on the power play, so he's going to help on kind of the Sharks power play as well. But good defensively, good at creating offense for Wennberg. Again, playing kind of first line minutes, especially with Seattle. looking at his WAR, so projected wins above replacement, 28th percentile for him, 85th percentile even strength defense. So if you want to put Wennberg with some of your young players like Celebrini and like Smith, especially a guy like Smith who we know is going to have to work on his defense, having a guy like Wennberg who is a good defensive type of player, kind of feels like a really good match there. Wennberg also faced stiff competition last year, 83% competition. So faced really a ton of tough competition with not the greatest line mates as well. So there's a potential here where if he gets better line mates and maybe less competition, you could see some more offensive of kind of boost here for Wennberg. So offensively, again, a little bit more of a passer grade at kind of creating point shots. So kind of kicking it back to the defenseman to get shots off there. Not as much for the shooting. Good with kind of retrievals in the defensive zone and kind of getting them out and kind of getting the puck going in the offense, that way. But offensively, though, you don't really see too. I think there's a chance to maybe see some improvement there. So he was projected at a 3-year deal at 4.4. Even his 2-year deal was at 3.2. So that's where I say the little bit of overpay. The 2 years at $5 million. But again, we knew the Sharks were going to have to overpay to get talent on the roster. With Toffoli's contract coming in kind of right where you expected, I'm okay with paying a guy like Wennberg who is going to, again, just give you a little bit peace of mind and insurance. So if Couture doesn't come back, you're not having to try to scramble to find a 3C guy. And Nico Sturm did okay in that role, but I think, when you have Barclay Goodrow in that mix, I think it maybe if Nico maybe kind of moves to the wing, we'll kind of at some point here, once we get through a little bit more free agency, look at the lines and kind of project some lines here. But I think for the Sharks, this just gives them more flexibility and kind of a middle six type of player for Wennberg and for the Sharks. So I'm okay with this move. I talked about Wennberg as a potential guy as Couture insurance, and I'm glad to see Mike Grier, have Logan Couture insurance, because I'd rather have a guy like Wennberg who has that flexibility to, again, if you want to play him with Will Smith, who we know is probably going to need some help, at least, kind of learning and defending. I think Wennberg's a great guy to pair with Smith. And we know Smith can create offensively, but we also know Smith can shoot. So if Wennberg's more of a defensive role passer, and Will Smith potentially is more of a shooter on that line, and whoever else, if you want to put like a Clean Costin, who's a monster forechecker and shooter, that could be a potential look at the future of adding two kind of maybe bigger, especially a big dude like Costin. Wennberg is very sound responsibly. And then I think Smith, who can kind of be the creator / also another shooter on that line, kind of something like that. So totally fine. Great. I would say B+, just because of the little bit of overpay. But again, when the Sharks need to just get to the cap floor, they still have a ton of cap space, nothing to kind of fret about. And then again, it's 2 years. 2 years is, perfectly cromulent deal. So we'll look at some of the other small additions for the Barracuda and kind of look at some of the work I think Mike Grier needs to continue to look at here going as free agency continues on. So we'll do that in just 1 minute. All right, so the Barracuda also announced the signings. So very important, the Barracuda announced the signings of 2 defensemen. So they signed Lucas Carlsson to a 2-year contract, 2-year, 2-way contract. So just as a reminder, these are NHL contracts, but he will have to go through waivers to be put on the Barracuda. But with a 2-way contract, he gets paid more. They set the price at the AHL, so he kind of gets a little bit more pay when he is in the AHL compared to if some of the other kind of ways it works around. So Lucas Carlsson last year spent this was with the Charlotte Checkers of the American Hockey League, which is part of the Florida Panthers organization. Got hurt at the time. Only played 52 games last year. He's only 26 as well, so he could be a potential guy fighting for a job here. But I think they're looking at him as a kind of help to kind of solidify the Barracuda defense here, which is something the Barracuda desperately need. So last year he had 15 goals and 39 points for the Charlotte Checkers. He also, the previous year, he had 54 points, including 20 goals with 61 games with Charlotte. So, and was also an AHL All-Star at the end of the season there as well. Great offensive defenseman. Like, he is going to really, really help the Barracuda group. So now you have a guy like him and Jack Thompson. Both can really help solidify as a potential 1-2 punch on the right side for left-handed or right-handed. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, you're no matter what you're adding, he is left-handed, my bad. Sorry. So if that's your top pairing of Jack Thompson and Lucas Carlsson, or if you want to split them up, really gives you some offensive punch and kind of really, then you can mix and match with your young defensemen like your Luca Cagnonis or Gan Larocques or Jake Furlongs. Like, you can really mix and match with some of these young guys to make sure that they're not kind of out there on an island. So like the Lucas Carlsson signing. They also signed Jimmy Schuldt, who last season played for the Coachella Firebirds. He's 29, 1 year, 2-way contract. Same thing. We'll have to go through waivers to get put on the Barracuda, and we'll play the waivers game as we get closer to. He had 24 points last year, 5 goals and 19 assists with 60 games with the Firebirds. In the 2022-2023 season, he had 32 points, including 8 goals and 24 assists. So again, another good player who can provide offense and good defense. Top defenseman one of the top defensemen for the Firebirds last season, a team that went to the finals. Of course, lost in the finals as well. So 2 big additions for the Barracuda here, as they're trying again raise the floor of what the what's going on down in with the Barracuda, and with so many young potential defensemen like Furlong and Larocque, who you hope kind of for a full season here can stay healthy, and if Luca Cagnoni makes the team, like a lot of young players, but having some of these veterans around who, especially guys like Cagnoni, who offensively gifted but maybe need to continue on the defensive part, like having these guys who've been there and done that, I think is going to be really, really good for them. We'll see what the Barracuda do here with the additions of some more forwards, veteran forwards. But I think, though, it's a very, very good start for San Jose's free agency. So what they need to do now, Mike Grier already said they're looking for a third goal. They expect Vita Vanacek to be available for the start of the season, but they want to find a third goalie, which I talked about on yesterday's show a little bit. Finding a third kind of tweener goalie, with especially, I know Devin Cooley was a popular name. Good for him getting signed by the Flames, but finding a third goalie who can play on the Barracuda, and then if you need him to play a couple games here in the NHL. I think that's on. Mike Grier has already said they're kind of looking for that. And I still want another right-handed defenseman. Hard to kind of see who's available right now because the signings keep happening kind of furiously here. But I think trying to find some sort of right-handed defenseman who can move the puck a little bit. The Sharks still have some, I think, a hole there in that spot. So those are areas I'm looking for Mike Grier to kind of work on here. I don't think they're going to be doing any more signings today on Monday, as Mike Grier already kind of spoke with the media here, kind of keeping an eye on Twitter as we're recording here just to make sure nothing crazy is happening. But yeah, there is a lot of the defensemen already kind of got picked up today and seen kind of some of those terms and stuff. Feels like maybe Mike Grier might have dodged a couple bullets here looking at some of the terms that are going out, but I still think that's something you need to try to do there again as you're trying to just lift the floor of this team right now to make it more competitive on a night in and night out balance, or night in, night out, and then giving Smith and Celebrini the best possible talent that you can around while you're waiting for some of your homegrown talent to be NHL ready. So those are kind of the two I'm looking for, and then expect to see more kind of Barracuda type signings, whether it's, kind of Justin Bailey-esque guys who can potentially play in the NHL, but are kind of really, really, really quality AHL forwards. I think those are kind of the areas of need here for the Sharks. So kind of going into the next couple of days of free agency, we're kind of hit all the big stuff here right now on today. But I think those are going to be some key areas for Mike Grier and for the Sharks, and I guess Joe Will for the Barracuda. So go find a right-handed puck moving defenseman and get a third goalie, especially with Vita Vanacek and Mackenzie Blackwood's spotty, we'll say, injury history, and then go find some depth of forwards who can play on the Barracuda for you, and kind of let all those guys. You're gonna have crazy the camp battles this year to make the team are gonna be interesting. So that's gonna do it for me today. We'll be back tomorrow with more on whatever is going on with free agency. If the Sharks add some more pieces, we of course have later on this week the prospect scrimmage game where we'll get to see Macklin Celebrini in action for the first time as a Shark, and all the new children joining. Yeah, it's going to be good. Plenty of good stuff coming up here at Locked On Sharks. Make sure you guys are following wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter at MyFryhole. Till tomorrow. Bye, friends.